right. Well, it's my sincere pleasure, man, because episode 97, it's a new episode, a new year. We had a nice break. Jason and I are raring to go, and we're just so thankful for everyone. Yeah. I said that yesterday. I said live and direct. We're going to be live and direct on Thursday. So we got the band back together. We're missing Amy, but we got the band back together for the most part. And super, super happy to be here. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We're going to, as usual, have a really lovely conversation today about just your fundraising plans and things to think about and be aware of for 2023, and not let yourself get behind the eight ball. Jason came up with this really cool adage about don't wait till you're thirsty to dig the well. And
Well,
I think
it's
that's
actually, I appreciate. I wish
what
I'd
was
came
it?
up with
What
it,
was
but
it?
I'll tell you
Am I
what's.
off? Am I off?
I'm gonna share this with everybody. So one of my
Yeah.
favorite authors is a guy named Harvey McKay, and about 20 years ago, Harvey wrote a book called "Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty." I don't remember.
There you
That's
go.
when I read it. I
Cool.
read it was about
Yeah.
20 years ago. So I want to give credit where credit's due. This is
Yeah.
the number one book that changed my perspective, life, everything on my
Oh,
net.
wow. Oh, wow.
And
Cool.
I highly suggest it. It is a timeless book. It is about simply networking with the people, putting a
Wow.
process in place to start doing that. And I want to give everybody one
Beautiful.
story out of there
Okay.
that I believe applies to my life. And so in the book, Harvey says a guy who he hadn't seen in 5 or 10 years shows up at his door. Hey man, I'm desperate. I got to get some money. I need this deal. And he goes, because I hadn't talked to this guy in like 10 years or something. I don't remember exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back later and he's telling the story to somebody else, another one of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, because the guy needed like 20 grand.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I didn't know what to do. I don't have a relationship, wasn't connected with the guy anymore. But it was frustrating to do that, to have that kind of a relation, just to see that situation. And the guy he's talking to, he says, well, man, he goes, yeah, who has that? And Harvey goes, well, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Probably got 50 people I could call on for that.
Mm-hmm.
And his point was he knew that he had been digging his well being a well to pull water from, to pull resources, to pull, reach into favors and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had done that for enough consistent time that he knew his relationships, that he could reach out to those people when his time came, when that need came, to say, hey, Trevor, hey, I'm in a place where I really could use some help, and would you do it? And because I've developed this relationship with Trevor, he says, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what happens is we think of fundraising, and we think of this as being, it's a shotgun approach. Oh, well, we're starting our fundraising season. We got to go out here and go do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or one of the things that I hear from people that like receive from United Way, anybody here get United Way funds? They have a blackout period. You can't raise money during that time. You can't raise money. You can't ask for money, but you can darn sure dig your well. Okay. And so what I want you guys to think about the most important thing going into 2023 is I want to encourage you all as leaders in the nonprofit world to start digging your well. I know some of you are fantastic at it already, and I want to just give you applause for that. And you'll know what I'm talking about. But this is a process that is something that you do over and over and over. It's not a one-time, well, our event's coming up. I got to start reach out and raising money. Mm-hmm. This is something that just goes on and on and on. And the reason that it's so important that you do this is because, as I learned, when I read the book, and I've applied this in my life, there's no wrong time to reach out to someone to make connection. It's like, whenever we thank people, we want to thank them. I want to genuinely say, thank you, Beverly. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for what you did. That's it. I'm not asking follow up going, oh, and by the way, would you like to donate to my, here's another, like, thank you letters. And I've got some I was going to show people an example. That's not digging your well. Mm. It's not. That's splashing in puddles. I see these year-end letters, and what I mean by that, and I'm not suggesting that you don't do it. I'm just saying, if you're going to make a thank you, make a thank you. If you're going to do an appeal, do an appeal. They're two separate parts that do not belong anywhere remotely together. And I truly mean that. If you got a donor and I reach out and I say, hey, Andy, I just want to let you know we really appreciate everything that you've done this year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We were able to serve this, we're able to do that, we're going to do this because of your support. That's it. That's all. It's worth the 52 cents for a stamp to send two different things. That investment of time and effort. So, and when we're talking about digging our well, this is where you're getting the relationships with the people that have capacity. You know, there's three ways people can help us. They have money to get, they can write you a check for $10,000 and not miss it. They can fill a table. They have connections. They're connected in the community. They've got a great well that they can pull from. And three, they have some kind of special access. And so those are people that you want to continually do that. We have an example. A friend of ours that's in the nonprofit, been executive director for about 15 years. It took her 5 years of cultivating a relationship, and it turned into a 7-figure donation, a 7-figure annual gift. Well, it wound up being 7 figures over a couple of years, but in other words, a significant gift. 5 years. Took 5 years of her digging that well before that person came through. Now, I don't know about you guys, but $1 million is worth that kind of investment, I think, especially if it's going to help us advance the mission. This is a long game, and this is not something that's going to fix out everything all at once. It's not going to be something that's going to change your world. And oh my gosh, it could, because by making these connections, these phone calls, you'd be surprised how many times they turn positive really quick. But it's something that you start and you do consistently. We're going to talk about how to do it, but I want to give you that information. Anybody got any questions about that? Any comments? You know, anything about before we go on?
Yeah, we get the Q&A function at the bottom, everybody, if you have any questions or anything. And then we, of course, have the chat. Thanks so much, everyone, for being so eager to share where you're tuning in from. Of course, if you're watching this as a recording later on, you can leave a comment on YouTube and all that good stuff, and we'll definitely get back to you. So yeah, I think it's as Jason mentioned, I love this. I don't think it's Confucius. It's like a Taoist principle, though, the chop wood and carry water. And they say it's chop wood and carry water, which is this day in and day out. And so many times in life we get in that situation where it's just like, I feel this way where it's like Groundhog's Day, and I have to be stimulated. That's just my thing. Like, I just have to have constant stuff going on, and I don't really sit still very well. But I have bought into the principle and discipline myself, which I think is what it takes actually to go down this path of building these relationships, where I just know it's going to end up paying off in time. And I don't mean that from a greedy perspective, or it's going to end up filling my bank account or something like that. I just know that it's a worthwhile investment. It could be, you know, when you invest in others, you're essentially investing in yourself, and you're investing in your community. And that's pretty amazing, especially when you're working with an organization advancing your mission. If you're part of a community, Jason was talking about and giving some examples from the book and whatnot, and just to kind of stoke folks' fire, is that, actively being disciplined and pushing yourself day in and day out to build those relationships, and to do it the right way, and to do it in a thoughtful manner, whether that be a handwritten note, a text, a phone call, a video text, things of that nature, a cup of coffee, a meal. Those are all worthwhile endeavors. So yeah, you have to adopt that kind of like chop wood, carry water principle. The funny thing about it, like the principle itself is chop wood, carry water, and then after enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. So it's like, It never stops. So the sooner you adopt that idea, and that way of approaching your life as a professional and your personal life, the better it's probably going to become, and advancing your mission. So we'll stay on topic with that. But
I've got a couple of questions, but I'm going to hold up on those because we're going to hit those in just a second. So I appreciate the questions.
Good questions.
I'm going to hit those in just a second, Beverly, Paula. So thank you so much. Well, I want to talk about the first thing, and I put it in, specifically I put it in there because I'm going to give you some thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I said, get off of LinkedIn and start linking up.
I liked it when you said that. I thought I had never heard you say that before.
One of the things
I think it's cool
is I think LinkedIn is a really great tool. I think it's a great tool for meeting people in the profession. I think it's great for connecting to people.
Share ideas.
Ideas share, doing that. I don't think now. it's also a great place to look at, maybe if you're trying to find somebody, but it is the worst place in the world to try to go find a new donor.
Yeah, I agree with
because
that.
And if somebody has anything different, I want to hear. Please prove me wrong and tell me I'm wrong. I'll take it.
Well, you didn't have to get me off the train with that, Jason. But like for instance, what if we looked at it our way? We don't go to LinkedIn to advertise our products. You know what I mean? We don't go to look for new customers.
We talk about it.
We give away information. That's what the platform's for.
I can tell you, I get spammed on a daily basis with somebody telling me they've got something that I need, something that I don't want, something I'm not looking for, about, hey, grow your business. Did you know you could get more new leads?
It's not always the most eloquent way either. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's some automated machine that they've set up, and it just keeps going. But what I want to tell you is, when I say linking up, that means to get out.
Yeah.
Then you start linking up with people. This technology world we live in is really great, but there's nothing better than looking somebody face to face. You mentioned getting a cup of coffee, having lunch, stopping by to visit with somebody.
Taking time.
I don't know how many times, and we feel weird about this because, I'm old enough now. You can see the white whiskers. 30 years ago, 35, 40 years ago when I was growing up, if somebody showed up at our house, it was like, oh, hey, yeah, come on in, come on in, we want a cup of coffee, want some iced tea. They were going to come in, everybody'd sit around the table and they'd talk and everybody'd catch up. And that was just kind of
the door was always kind of open.
It was just kind of that way. You want to go visit with somebody? He's like, hey, we're going to go down here and visit with so-and-so. And you just do that. Well, nowadays, if you show up at somebody's house unannounced, it's like, what are you doing? What do they want? I mean, I feel that way if somebody just shows up kind of random at my house. I'm like, and I'm a pretty welcoming, open door guy, but I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? It's just different. We're in a different ways because, we all have phones and cell phones and we connect, and we'll talk about those here in just a second. But getting out and start to link up with people, starting to meet people, to be around people, going to other events, going to things in the community, reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, Bev, hey, I'm going to be in town. If I was up here, I said, hey, Beverly, I'm going to be down in Norman because I know she's in Norman. And love to maybe grab a cup of coffee with you. You got any time open on, Friday morning? And if she says, yeah, great. We meet for a cup of coffee somewhere and just talk. And that's where you get to see what's going on. And what I want to suggest to you as professionals in the nonprofit, this is your time to get to know them. This isn't for you to pull out and start giving your pitch unless asked. This isn't time for you to tell all about the great things that your organization is doing unless asked. This is a time for you to learn about your donor, to learn about who this person is, to learn and what's going on in their life. You're going to learn so many things that you had no idea. Those things are going to be able to come back and help you. Now, I'm going to give you a little shortcut code. As soon as you get done with that, you go back, pull your phone out, get a notepad out, and write down all the things that you remember. Yeah.
I'm also really, really big on
follow-up. So-and-so, they've been married for 27 years.
Yeah.
They graduated from Texas A&M. They've got 9 grandkids. Whatever that may be, it doesn't, whatever it is, you start doing those things and remember, oh, wow, they really love beagles. I mean, whatever that is, you do that. And I will tell you a story of a guy, he's a former governor in the state of Oklahoma. He literally would record the entire conversation that he would be on with somebody. The entire thing, he would have it recorded or had somebody on there, and they would type all the information. The guy was really good because the next time he got on the phone, he'd be talking. He hadn't talked to Trevor in 2 years. But he'd pick up the phone and go, hey, Trevor, how's it going, man? Hey, how's everything going? Hey, how's Scout? She's about, 4 now? Isn't she 4? She's going to school. How's Shelby? Oh, hey, how's Elise? Is Elise doing it? Because she's out of high school now, right? All of a sudden, because he's got the notes, he didn't remember all this stuff. He had a note to look at that to say, so he could connect in a personal way. Brilliant politician, okay, when it came to that kind of stuff. But I mean, he used that in business and everything. So my point is, that's the way that you can learn. It's about learning about that donor, what they care about, what's going to drive them, who they are. You're going to learn more that's going to help you later on in that time to, when I say linking, off of LinkedIn and link up, Connect with these folks, even if it's a phone call. How are things going? I just want to call and check in and just say hi, and just keep the connection. They're okay with that. I've never had anybody tell me different. Going, I got time for you. Click. Anybody have any experience like that? Any comments? Anything? Okay. Well, if you do leave a comment down there if you got anything. I want to hear the feedback, because a lot of this is my experience, and experiences of people that I've worked around and worked with over the years. So, LinkedIn's a great tool, but not for creating those
It's almost like a good research tool, I suppose. Like I said, we
I
don't
want
use it to get new clients. We just use it to put
want to do
information
something
out there.
practical. If you just made one phone call a day, one text message,
I love it,
and had coffee once a week with somebody, if you do those things and you do it for 52 weeks, let's just say you take off Christmas and New Year's, okay? You do it for 50 weeks. Do you think you're going to be able to have some relationships created out of that?
For sure.
I absolutely, positively, 100% guarantee it will pay you dividends later on. And we're not talking about spinning out and going making 15 phone calls a day and doing all this. That's not what this is. This is about people that you know, people that you want to know. Maybe somebody did come to your event. They didn't really spend any money, but they have capacity. There's somebody that you would think maybe might be a great board member. You're not going to ask them to do anything. I'm not going to ask you for anything, other than some time.
I was going to say the investment there is time. That's the most beautiful thing of it all. That's the investment. That has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with what you're wearing. It has nothing to, obviously it has to do with the mission, but it's time, brother. You know what I mean? That's the cool part.
Yeah. And it's time. What makes a diamond? Time and pressure. Now, I'm not taking the pressure part off, but time. Okay. Time under pressure. So, and consistency. The next thing I wanted to, I was going to bring up and talk about this. I just think this is something that gets underused. And the question was, Beverly brought this question up. Are emails as effective as a note through the USPS? I would say no. Are they important? Yes.
I would say do everything. That's my opinion.
My deal is all the above. But if you think, like, let's say that you go and have coffee with somebody and you just got through talking to them and you leave and it was a good conversation. You didn't ask for anything. You didn't do anything to do that. And you fire off a little card. If you don't have some little cards, get your name put on it. And, and you don't even have to put the organization, just your personal name on there. Send that note and just say, wanted to let you know I really enjoyed having coffee yesterday. Thank you. Look forward to talking to you again soon, Jason.
Yeah.
That means something to people because the effort. You took a specific effort. I think it means more now than what it meant 20 years ago when we didn't have email.
For sure. Yes, because it's foregone, because there's scarcity. Right. So it's like, it's not bright and it's shiny and novel. Right. So there's scarcity there because it doesn't happen very often. And it's a skill and it's an art. I will also say something that I think is vital. I'm huge on follow up, and I've adopted this practice, and it's worked out tremendously in my life. It just kind of comes to me naturally because I consider myself to be a thoughtful person, and I really, really enjoy my interactions with people. With our clients, with friends, things of that nature. So it comes naturally to me. However, it's a skill that can be learned and through discipline and practice. But I'm one of those people where I think a thank you card's fantastic. There's no wrong answer. I think all this wins. And that's why we were talking when it comes to Beverly's question. Do it all, Beverly. I think you need to do it all. We put information out a lot. Jason and I were talking about this week. We just want to put out more. So it's like from that perspective, it's just content. But more, and nothing is bad. But back to my follow-up point, if you have a cup of coffee with someone and you're investing time in that person and establishing a relationship with that high net worth donor or someone that has a huge network of high net worth donors, I'm the kind of person where when I'm done, I'm thinking about it, obviously. And because you had that interaction, that's real. It's human on a human level. I sent a text message within an hour. And that's not because I'm not a robot. I'm not a robot at all, but I'm like, literally, thank you so much. It means so much to me. I think it's it's that touch point. You're still in that kind of like sphere of time. It's worked out tremendously for me. Tremendously.
What I want to just suggest to you is that an email is kind of formal. It's more of a formal business to be.
Yeah.
I think when you send it, if you went and visit with somebody and you're hanging out with them and you're talking to them and you shoot them a text message, hey Trevor, thanks so much. I really enjoyed spending time. Thanks for sharing time and with a cup of coffee. Really enjoyed getting to know you, Jason. What you're trying to do is you're trying to associate yourself then with a positive memory.
100%.
If somebody associates you with something good and positive, the next time I pick up the phone and call Trevor, he's going to remember and he's going to go, "Oh yeah, that's Jason. He's with HGA." And he didn't ask me for anything. I know he's not. We just had a great cup of coffee. We talked about kids.
Thank you is huge. I just think a follow-up thank you is so.
Oh yeah, man. He sends a really cool little note card. He sent a note card with a big funny little signature.
Can't wait to do it again. Something like that. And for me, it's not like a sales process that I have, or it's not even like that because I do that with friends too. And if I have lunch with my mom, it's just ingrained in me now. Telling you what, and you think probably people do that a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. I was just thinking that, people do that a lot and they just naturally follow up. They don't. So I think there's a massive amount of potential and just so much upside. And it sounds so simple, but it's a fundamental. And if y'all adopt it, I think it'll work really, really well.
We had a thing, with thank yous. We would do a deal every board meeting. I was on a board, and every board meeting, there would be a stack of cards in front of me. They had an envelope, a card, and a list, and it was to tell me who I had to write these cards to. Some of the people I didn't know, and some of them I didn't know. If I knew them, I made it much more personal. If I didn't know them, I tried to reach out to let them know I'd love to connect with them. And when I did that, it really, we did that as a board. So the executive director or somebody on the staff would always have those in front of right there by my little name card. So whenever I did that, I knew that was something that I would do. And so somebody would receive that, for whatever thank you, for whatever it was, from a board member. It'd be on behalf of, ABC Charity, thank you so much for, being at our event. Thank you for what you did. I'd always ask them, I said, what did they do? Tell me something specifically, because if I didn't know them, I would ask that. And so I think those are, you can't underestimate that power. It's inexpensive. It costs nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. In the scheme of things.
Yeah.
We mentioned, sending flowers, sending a tree, sending a basket, something like that. I think those are very, very valid. I think they're very important to do. I think they make you stand out.
Yep.
But they do cost a little bit more money, so you got to have a budget for it, and you got to put that in your program. But a card and a stamp is just in a little bit of time doesn't take much.
I think time. There's a common denominator here. Time.
Yeah, I always follow up with. I'm like that. I follow up with a text message. Thank you for the time. I do want to say something real quick, and I want Trevor to explain it. Something that Trevor does, I think, is one of the most cleverest, sincerest, and it comes off very well. Responses.
Yeah.
To emails and what you do with the changing the subject line. Would you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. So I'm all about these little fundamentals. These are not seismic changes, but these are things where I just discipline myself into doing. And I got kind of tired of subject lines. I've always been someone that really, really believed in emails, obviously, and the power of them and things of that nature. But sometimes you'll get like someone will reach out and go and we'll continue a conversation from one that you had with them 6 months ago. And the subject line's all like, forward, colon, this, and this. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And so I made a concerted effort every time when I would respond to someone or when I generate a new email, it was always thank you. And so it was always like, if I was talking to Jason, it would be, thank you, Jason. And then it would be the new email. I even go so far at times to, I do, where if I get that jumbled email, it's like forward, blah, 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 and all this stuff, this long subject line, I change it before I respond. And then I always put in like maybe pertinence or something like, like, hey, thank you so much, and then like a date that might be important to the body of the email, just so there's context. I think that's a really huge one.
Well,
It's
I
worked
think
out
it's
great.
because let's just say that you've got something in
Gracious.
it.
It's
Let's say
gracious.
because visual is everything, especially in an email that you see. Because I can't hear the intent behind what I see.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not in a great mood at the moment. Maybe I'm
Sure.
not. And so when I read this, I read a little bit of anxiety in it, maybe some
Totally.
frustration,
Totally.
something
There could be
like that.
customer service involved. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a customer service thing,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I respond and I take that out, thank you, or maybe the
Yeah.
person when they send it, maybe there's a little bit, it just takes all that off of it.
I
That's
think
why
it's gracious. I think it sets a tone. I think it's
yeah,
gracious. I mean, there's a few others, but I think there's another one that would be like, I adopted this practice over a decade ago where it was instead of saying sorry, like maybe you make a mistake or anything for that matter. Some people are very, very quick to say sorry. I just say thank you for your patience.
yeah.
It's all based in graciousness and I guess gratitude and all these things just for the opportunity. And we talk about this.
Put it up there in that subject line though, because that's where they're going to see it first.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think that sets a
I'm here to
tone.
help,
I think it
I'm
sets a
here,
tone.
So that was just, I think that was just a really quick tip to share.
Yeah. I think that's
And
fun.
so, we talked about, getting off of LinkedIn and start linking up.
Yeah.
We talked about the power of the pen,
Mhm.
writing those notes, short, simple, and consistent.
Mhm.
You don't have to have a reason to do it.
Yo,
Just
less is always more. Less is always
you
more.
know what?
I'm a
It
big
could be a
believer in that.
simple thing. Hey,
Yeah.
Trevor, just want to let you know you came to mind today. I hope
Yeah.
you're doing really well.
Yeah.
I hope to connect with you soon, Jason.
Yep. Yep.
What you're doing is you're building a foundation. You're digging that well. You're digging. Okay. You may not be there yet. It may take, it may still me. I may be 3 years out before Trevor ever does anything with me.
Buy in.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to consist because he's somebody I like. He's somebody who I think would fit with our mission. He's somebody who I think could possibly be a board member, a committee member. He's got great connections. He's just a great guy all the way around. I want to have him in our circle. He's somebody I want to recruit into my circle.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do. Paula, you asked a couple of questions about putting results in a thank you. I think it's imperative.
I think it's really awesome when you're talking about what kind of work you're doing.
That you let them know thank you. Because of your generosity, we are able to do this. We were able to do that. We're going to do this. I like to say what we've done, what we're doing, and what we're going to do. One of those three things is what you're going to put in that note based on the time frame. I think it's absolutely helpful. So thank you for that.
I think that's huge, Paul. Sorry for keeping you.
Now, I would not do it. I'm telling you right now, I would not talk about that if I just was visiting with somebody and just a deal, because it becomes a sales pitch. Yeah. If I'm telling you thank you for having coffee, that's all I'm thanking you for, because you haven't done anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't, because as soon as I start saying, by the way, we serve 5,000 people and we do this, that, and the other, it becomes a sales pitch. So
there's no context. We
are building relationships. And this is, I really want you to understand the difference. And I really want to just drive it home. I don't mean to keep pushing, but it's really important to understand developing relationships and asking for money. Okay. And that's what we're talking about. Those are two different things. We're going to dig. And then when the time comes, guess what?
Yeah.
It's going to come out in bucketfuls. Because when I do pick up the phone, if I've dug my well, if I've created a relationship, I am on that first name basis with Trevor, with Andy, with Beth, with Beverly, and I pick up the phone and say, hey, Bev, how's it going? Hey, I hope everything's going great for you. Hey, you know what? I really just wanted to tell you, I've got my events coming up. I want you to be a part of it. I think you'd be great to be a sponsor. I think this would really be great to have your support. Can you come and help us? That's what this is about. Okay.
Yeah.
This is about reaching out and making connections. Paula brought one more thing up. I want to just hit on.
No, I love it. Yeah.
She talked about how to bump. I think you're asking how to bump into people naturally.
Like network and stuff. Yeah.
So I want to tell you this is something that I learned probably 30 years ago, and I'm going to tell you that this is how this happened. I was a young whippersnapper doing a charity auction, and this lady would always come up to me and she would say, hi, I'm just going to say her name. She'd say, hi, Paula Brown. Great to see you. Well, I just thought she never thought I never remembered her name, but I remembered her name. But what she did was she didn't remember my name. And what that did was, because I would go, oh, hey, Paul, yeah, Jason Ledlow, it's good to see you. Mm-hmm. I've adopted that because I can remember faces forever. Names I have sometimes hard to time associate.
When you have a big network, it's tough sometimes.
And it does. And because now I'm pretty good at it, it usually takes me 3 times to remember somebody's name, and then I have it forever. But if it comes up there and does that, I just go, hey, how are you doing? Jason Ledlow, so good to see you.
Yeah.
Almost without exception. It does sometimes I go, yeah, Jason, I know what's going on. What's going on, man? How are you? And I still don't have their name. But it's a way that you can do that. And a lot of times that's how, yeah, man, I'm Trevor Nelson. How are you? What's going on, man?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if it's somebody you know really well and you're just having a mad cow moment like I have, well, it'll come to you. But if it's somebody you really want to do, it's just an idea for you to do that into naturally. Be where people that you want to connect with are.
I think other events, Paula, would be a really
I do. And I want to.
I think.
Go ahead, Trevor. Please go.
No, I think other events. I think, like we have a really strong chamber of commerce here in my town, and they're always doing mixers and stuff like that. I think that's a really great way to do that. I think, but once again, what we were talking about, I think events, I think volunteering and getting around other boards and things of that nature would be a cool idea. But I think visibility, I think, is something as well. And I think it can tear down a lot of walls with folks. If they're seeing you in your community time and time again, I think that's an easy segue into a conversation and a relationship building opportunity. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. But we're constantly talking, Jay, about like, we just did a long podcast yesterday about abundance. We did a podcast as well with a former competitor because we believe in abundance and we like him tremendously, and he's always been kind, and we've been kind to him. And he's not even a competitor anymore, quote. I'm using that term very loosely, but this comes up often with organizations that we talk to where they go, oh yeah, well, I saw our donor at the other event or this and that. Hey, people want to give to all sorts of events if it touches their heart. You know what I mean? So be open-minded to that.
We don't own a donor.
Yeah.
And here's, there was a nonprofit. I was at an event. The executive director saw another executive director talking to one of the key donors. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. She's like, what did she do with my donor?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And I said, well, didn't her foundation give you guys a whole lot of money? Aren't you like the biggest recipient of their foundation? She goes, well, yeah, but I said, well, she's on your side. Mm-hmm, she's on your side. She's not going to do anything. And the guy that she was talking about is worth $1 billion. He's got plenty of money.
Yeah, it's okay.
He's got plenty of money to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and they know people. And if you're, listen, if they get a good impression from you and, they know other people, it's a great opportunity.
Let me tell you how you can go meet people if you want to and do it. And volunteer for somebody else's event.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Volunteer. You don't have to just go buy a ticket and show up. Just volunteer and say, hey, I'm going to come help you do something.
I've seen that happen. I thought that was kind of.
I'm going to learn something. Maybe I can help. Maybe, I can learn something, do that. But the way that I think you do it is to be out and be visible. Number one is Chamber of Commerce is a great one. Maybe there's a tips group, organization, different ones.
I've seen that.
You want to be where donors are. And, it's one of those things. Sometimes, it's just being out and being available. You're going to do it. Now, obviously, some of you go, I've got a spouse and 3 kids and 2 dogs and, I got stuff going on. And I understand that. I completely do. Yeah. We're empty nesters now, but now a freshman in college, we were doing 4 sports a year and it was constantly going. Yeah. And so there wasn't a whole lot of time for those kind of things, but I made it a priority to do that, to be out, to be part of those type of things. And, when you'll be surprised when you open yourself up to seeing the people around you, you're going to be surprised how connections happen. Mm-hmm. I met in Paris in Duke's Bar, which is this really cool place, this really cool hotel. We just popped in there just for a little bit, just to kind of rest our feet from walking around. We met a couple from Chicago. Come to find out, he's got a nonprofit. I didn't say, hey, let's do good. We didn't even talk about it. We just talked. I did spend an hour with him day before yesterday yesterday with him, talking to him about his nonprofit and trying to help him out. It was just we're just open to it. I'm just open to meeting people. You may be out at dinner and you see somebody. You could be at the ball game and you run into somebody. Anywhere people are is potential donors.
I do think that you have to be out. You do have to be out. There's a couple of things that are speaking to me. Jason, you just mentioned something I think is important. An important quality is approachability. I think that you have to be approachable for sure. I think that having a ready smile is important. It comes easier for some folks than others. Jason's incredibly approachable. You should see what kind of like stuff we drum up, with folks when we go to restaurants and stuff together and things of that nature, and who we meet and things. And it's really, really fun. It's like, it really jazzes me up big time. Approachability was huge. I'm just thinking of like some bullet points while we've been talking of things. This approach to building relationships and investing time, and it will take time. We've talked about discipline and all these things. I was just thinking, Jay, and Bear's mentioning that this is a selfless endeavor. This isn't a what have you done for me lately thing. You know what I mean? This is a very selfless, this is a decision, a conscious decision. I in 2015, I've written about this. In 2015, it wasn't New Year's yet, and it was getting to the end, and I had a very busy year, and I made a conscious decision. I said it out loud to someone very close to me, and I said it out loud for a reason, because I knew there was going to be accountability there. And people had been so good to me for so long. Friends, family, business partners, and things of that nature had been so good to me, and like just showered me over time. And I said to myself, I am going to, because I bought into relationships and how fruitful they were, and that they're a true superpower. And I said, my New Year's resolution, before it's even New Year's, because I'm not gonna start after the first, was I am going to be the best friend, business owner, partner, husband, father. I am going to pour myself into people every opportunity that I get. And then you fast forward, 8 years, 7 years, pardon me, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. One of the best decisions I ever made. Jason said it could take 3 years. I mean, have you read the 10,000 Hours book? It takes a long time. Like, how long does it take to become a good pilot? You know what I mean? So be willing to invest. You have nothing to lose and only a ton to gain out of it. You know what I mean? And you'll push your mission. That's how I feel.
Well, we want to make sure that while we're doing all this, that we're talking to people, we're going down this program, that we understand this is the long game. This is not my fundraisers in 60 days, and I gotta go raise $100,000 before we walk in the door. That's not what this is.
Yep.
The other thing I want to just make sure that you mention is, if you're trying to bump into somebody specific, that's called stalking. Be very careful. Okay. So, you don't want to say, oh, hey, golly, just happened to run into you, Trevor.
Yeah.
Third time this week. Wow, that's a coincidence. Maybe we ought to have coffee.
That's a little too much.
Because I think what you'll find is, if you open yourself up to relationships, you never know where they're going to take you.
Shocking.
Just don't know where they're going to take you.
Well, another thing, Jason, we're in a relationship business. It's very interesting, the symmetry. Obviously, we work with, just organizations and charities and nonprofits. That's all we do. But at the same time, realize this is not transactional. We are not in a transactional business. We realized this very, very early on. We knew no matter what, we could spend $1 million in ads and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. This is a relationship business that we're in. You're in a relationship business as well, doing what you do and advancing your mission and raising money, and changing the world. That's it's not transactional at all. So if there's any misnomers about that, let those fall off to the wayside.
And sometimes the person that you think that, I just want to, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. Okay. I know you love my old stories. Let me tell you a quick story. Farm auction, kind of out by east of Oklahoma City. Guys out there, pulls up in an old pickup with stock racks on it, like a 1974 3/4 ton pickup with stock racks. If any of y'all know, that's where it's the back of a pickup, and you run the cow or calf or whatever up in the back of the pickup and haul them around. It was the old poor farmer kind of deal. Guy doesn't look like he's got $12 in the overalls, the boots, the hat he's wearing, and he starts buying equipment at this auction. The auctioneers I'm helping do this. This has been years ago. Well, this guy's bought $60,000 of farm equipment. We're kind of worried this guy doesn't look like he's got the money to pay for it. Somebody walks over, one of the guy that partners the auction company goes over and just says, "Hey, just want to say thank you so much. Hey, the girls are asking if I could just to make sure, because they're getting everything ready, how you're going to be paying." He goes, "Yeah, sure." Reaches in his deal, pulls out and hands the guy a check. So this is what I'll be using. It's a counter check, like no name on it, no nothing, just the bank. They're like, "Okay," so they go, "Great." They go in there and pick up the phone. Actually, they one of them got into the car, drove, because I don't think that they had a cell phone. Maybe somebody went and found a cell phone, call the bank, and they say, "Hey, we got a counter check here for Mr. Smith, and he's bought about $60,000 of equipment. We just want to make sure it's going to be okay." And the girl laughs on the other line. She said, "Ma'am, if he signs his name to a napkin, we'll take it. He owns the bank." He owned the bank. In other words, don't judge a book. There's some people that out there that have serious ability to give, serious capability to write checks. They could give you a six-figure check and not miss it, and you would never know it because they write under the radar. You don't realize that they've got a business over here that's worth $100 million. And so, because that's just, they're not out in the world that we talk about in nonprofits, and they may never go to your gala. They may never show up with a tuxedo on. But when it comes time to send some kids to camp and it's $1,000, they say, "Yeah, I want to put 100 kids through here because I have a special need child, and I want to make sure I know how hard it is." So please, just open yourself up to those relationships. Make it a concerted effort. Okay, finally, I want to get to the last one. And the most powerful fundraising tool in the world and how you can use it. If anybody's been here, you've heard me say this all the time. This is it. It's your phone. The most powerful fundraising tool is here. There's 3 ways that you can use it. Obviously, you can pick it up and make a phone call. Now, I know for a lot of us, that feels kind of weird now. And I also want to just tell you, it feels uncomfortable sometimes to make a phone call, to reach up and do that, because it's somebody I don't really know that well. Maybe it's not, but we're not asking for money right now, okay? What we're doing is I'm just reaching out. "Hey, Trevor. Hey, it's Jason." Maybe it goes to voicemail. "Hey, it's Jason Ledlow. I just wanted to reach out with you. I'm with HGA. I'd love to connect with you. Don't want anything. We made an acquaintance one time, and I wanted to see if I could buy you a cup of coffee. Have a great day."
There's nothing wrong with that.
I didn't ask for anything. I put on my deal, I'm not going to talk to this guy, not going to leave a message, not going to do anything for 60 days. Because I've got other people I'm calling every day, or maybe once a week or whatever it is I'm doing. Because I don't want to be the stalker. I don't want him to think it's not a bait and switch deal. I'm just reaching out and just wanted to touch base with somebody. Obviously, we can do a text message. Sending that personal thing. Maybe it's the call that was the thank you. "Hey, Trevor, it was great running into you. Hope you have a great week and good luck with that triathlon you're doing." Did 2 things. I made it about him, not about me. I made it about what is important to him, not about what's important to me. When I send a text message, "Hey, I really enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you so much for sharing the time. I enjoyed it, enjoyed our time together." Whatever that is, thanks for lunch. How many times you go, happened to me yesterday. Sitting down there, I'm planning on taking this, or day before yesterday, taking the guy to lunch, and he winds up, next thing I know, he's picked up the tab, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't even my intent at all." He's like, no, I wanted to spend time with you. And so it was one of those really cool things, and it's somebody I got to know. The last one that I think it's a little different. It's a little outside the box.
But we have seen it work.
But it will dang sure make you memorable. Take your phone, put a deal on here, go to video, put it back on yourself, and just do it real quick, and he goes, "Hey, Trevor, I just want to say thank you so much for spending time with me yesterday. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great week, man. Good luck on that triathlon." And hit send.
People are used to seeing that anyway, so it's not that different.
Yeah.
People are used to seeing video, so it's not like the
Because here's what's going
pink
to happen.
elephant.
You send a text message, they may like it, they may think about it. But if you send a little quick video like that didn't ask them for anything other than appreciation for the time, something about them, they're going to see it and going to remember it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that for fundraising asks. You make one video and send it out to 15 people. You know, whenever you're sitting around. Beverly, we did this with a group of for Beverly with her committee. It worked out great. So, you know, 3 simple ways to use this. Use your cell phone, most powerful fundraising tool on the planet, to dig your well. Okay, we're going to give something away here in just a few minutes. I don't want anybody to leave anywhere, but I want to open up to any questions, comments, thoughts. This was great.
Hey, success stories. Yeah.
Anything
that's worked, whatever.
Did anybody get anything good out of this?
Oh, and if you want any fundamentals or anything like that, if you want to email us, we're happy to have a conversation with you. We can have a conversation over Zoom for 15 or 20 minutes and just go over just fundamental stuff that has worked for us, because there's a lot of symmetry, as I mentioned, between what we do and what you're doing. It's all relationship based, not transactional at all. And happy to help. So Jason at HJFundraising.com and Trevor at HJFundraising.com. And oh, good. Awesome. Yeah. Right, Calvin? I mean, that's so funny. You know, validation is important. We're on the right track, that kind of stuff.
Calvin, does it work?
Yeah. Any other last minute questions, comments, thoughts? Are we full of it? What's worked?
Well, that's don't ask a question you already know the answer to, because I know
especially if you're afraid of the answer. Yeah.
You know, Paula, thank you so much. Paula said, you know, time is the most valuable gift. It is, especially people with money. Okay, I will tell you, that is the most precious thing they have is time, and sometimes they'll write you a check just to get you to go away. So no, I don't have coffee, but if you need some help, let me know, because they know.
That's awesome. Thanks for the reminders. Yep.
Calvin, I get it. Yep. I have to. I will literally say, look, I'm going to ask your name again like 2 or 3 times, because I have to do that to lock it in, because just make my brain work. So
yeah, that's all right.
I want you to know, when I'm talking to you, it's important to me, and I want to get to know you.
They understand that. A lot of folks are like that too. It's all right. Having a conversation, not being afraid to be affable as well, I think is good. About those idiosyncrasies and things that we're working on ourselves. I think that's good, because it humanizes it, you know. That's part of the connection. I guess we're talking about how to make friends.
It really is. How to win friends and influence people. Let them talk about themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, if you read that book, Norman Vincent Peale, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I've heard of the book. Yeah, I can't recite it. Yeah.
But that's the deal. It's like, you talk to people and you let them talk.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with that. Y'all know I'm a chatterbox.
That's why I'm great with email. No. Yep.
Okay.
I think that's true, Shelly. And yeah, Jason's taught me this, especially because our company has grown. I'm not a natural born manager of people. And even though I like leadership qualities and things of that nature, Jason has taught me, and it's been really, really interesting with the people in our organization. And we're a family company too, but we're growing. And just the fact that the best thing that I can give folks on our team is my time, not my advice, not my know-how, not my this, not my that, not my opinions, but my time. And so it's something I move very, very quickly. And I'm kind of like the no news is good news. You know what I mean? Hey, like, I don't hear from you, so everything's good, right? You know, that kind of thing. And I've really had to discipline myself in a good way. And it's been really, really worth it. Even though I'm good with follow-up and all that stuff, it's just like touching someone with a text message and just being, hey, how you doing? What's going on? How's this going? How's your wife doing because she's pregnant, or, whatever. I've been thinking about you, stuff like that. And then having a conversation. The best thing that we can give to each other sometimes is time, right? Yeah. And it's so funny. It's so funny, Jason. It's like, you taught me that and have push me and nudge me to do that. And now I get like unsolicited text messages from our team and stuff, just checking in and seeing how things are going. And now they send me pictures, and I was like, man, how cool is that? You know what I mean? So, hey, before we draw a winner, can I just, I kind of geek out on this kind of stuff because I fashion myself an amateur writer, but I just want to show everyone I wrote rules for my life. In business, and it also applies to my personal life. But this is my journal about relationships being a superpower. I don't know if everyone can see that, but it says rule number 4: relationships are a superpower. I had to show everyone that. So yeah, so
we all know that person that golly, wow, she knows everyone.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't come by accident. It's not just natural. Okay?
You have to invest.
There are some people that may, be naturally buoyant and talkative and things like that, but it is something that people can do over time, consistently over time.
Yep.
If you want to know how to get started, pick the top 20 donors in your list, put them on a deal, call one of them every day, shoot them a call, make a text, and just say, hey, just wanted to say hi. I hope everything's going great. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's never a bad time. Yeah.
If if they respond with a like and that's it, that's all you have to do. If they say, hey, thanks a bunch, let it go. Just reach out and be consistent and do those things. That's how you're gonna build those relationships.
A daily practice.
Deepen those relationships. And if you already have a great relationship, make it greater. Appreciate that and be thankful. Okay.
Thanks, Paula, for the feedback. Thank you. And thank you, Shelly.
Got a winner?
Right. Yeah. All right. Hit it.
Andy Corbin. Andy Corbin. Give him a big hand, Andy.
All right.
You just want a trip that you're using your next fundraiser and to raise more money. Please, if you got anything good out of today, please give us a share. Share this with somebody else that's in this field. We really want to do this to give things away besides trips. Hope you get some good knowledge out of it with other people.
Yeah, you don't have to share this with your high net worth donors, but we do want you to share it with folks in your network that that could get some value out of it. So thanks so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you, brother. That was awesome. And relationships are a superpower. So believe in it, invest in it, invest in yourself. Yeah.
Y'all have a great week. We'll look forward. Got a great topic next week.
Fun. Good guest too. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Be coming out. Yep, got a good guest and stuff.
All right.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
We'll see you all next Thursday. Episode 97 is a wrap. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Thursday afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.